Kachenu, NamRA nchi yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA nchi yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA nchi yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA nchi yetu.
NamRA, serving with passion.
Hello and welcome to this edition of NamRA Kachenu, where the focus will be on tax, customs and excise matters. I'm Shipena Njambiko Hanga and I'll be keeping you company for the next half an hour or so. In today's episode, we'll look into the following recent developments. The NamRA management attends a leadership training. NamRA engages taxpayers and traders in the Shobonjupa region. And the world of school visits the NamRA offices. For all this and more, we'll be coming to you in a while. Stay tuned. Capacity building and having the right people in the right positions that are equipped to lead in various roles is an important aspect to an organization such as NamRA. The NamRA management and change champions recently attended a leadership training that focused on leadership in context, future leadership requirements, change management, effective communication, and revenue administration, together with strategic planning, management, and implementation. Now here are a few highlights from the training.
The NamRA family, I'm happy to see you all. Actually, we are here to learn leadership, and I was so happy to hear that it seems we understand some techniques of leadership already. To have a mixture of junior and senior together, that is already that I'm sure our guests are happy that it's not that tradition of, it's a meeting of the senior managers and the ones who are doing the real work, the technical people are not involved. Mm-hmm. And I'm also happy to hear that there are people who are also put among you who are called best performers. You know, it's already a reward. It's a reward. Just take it serious that for you to be put to come and join this type of a meeting, that is a reward than you getting a check of 100,000. Because that, until you go, you leave the world, you own it. You know what you are going to learn here? You will be owning it and it's yours. You know, it will be yours.
We are moving in the same direction. I want you to ask yourself, what are you going to do to apply the lesson that you have learned? What are you going to do to be relevant like Samira, Caroline, Patrick did, so that you can also grow beyond NamRA? I hope most of you still remember the concept of performance currency. If you do your work very well and you develop that reputation that when an assignment is given to you, when a request is sent to you, when you submit, you make a submission or a report is of good quality, when you develop that performance currency, when you want to be known because of your work, not because you talk very nice or you dress very nice or whatever, or you complain very nice. But if you just commit to be delivering, speed of execution, of course, but also quality, you will see people, not only from NamRA, they would want to be dependent on you, and other people will say you have been favored. So, Cara Harris talk about develop that performance currency. But it doesn't end there, just maybe you are good at performance currency. You must also work on relationship currency. Your relationship with others. You must write down these 3 H. When we lead people, the first H is about the head. Apply your mind. The second H is about the heart. You must have empathy. And the third H is about hands. You must get involved sometimes.
NamRA has an obligation to ensure that all stakeholders are informed, educated, and constantly engaged on NamRA's mandate, tax, and trade matters, in addition to enhancing the brand. In this regard, NamRA held a stakeholders engagement in Oshiwarongo, Oshodonjupa region, to engage taxpayers and traders in the region. Now here's a look at how this session went.
When you are talking about organizational culture, the success of any organizational culture, number one, the 7 principles are existing of organizational culture. And one of those principles, it must be purpose-driven. But number 2 of those principles, it must be about effective communication. And this is what it is. Because stakeholder engagement is about effective communication. It is about you carrying out your responsibility, going out to the regions, and coming and telling us as your stakeholders, what do you stand for, what should we expect from you, and how best can we interact with you. Because it is through stakeholders engagement that we build up a relationship, that we strengthen that relationship. It is through stakeholders engagement that where opinions can be actually communicated between entities and stakeholders.
Now, if you are in debt, don't run away. If you want a good selling certificate, you pay 10% of your capital debt, and you put up an arrangement, a payment arrangement, will give you a good selling certificate. But we're only doing this until June 2024. You must get your house in order. After June 2024, we expect you to have made sure that your tax affairs are in order. Electronic filing, tax relief you have paid, coming to the end of this month, the one of 70%. Please take part on that. If you are owing, even if you are owing 10,000 or whatever, please pay the capital. Your 70% interest will be waived, 100% penalty will be waived, so that make sure that you pay before end of this month.
The Waldorf School on the outskirts of Windhoek recently visited the NamRA offices for an educational session with their grade 10, 11, and 12 learners. Now, the primary goal of this session was to familiarize learners with the mandate of NamRA, its services, opportunities, on all other related issues.
While I was at school, I have to work for other students so that they can pay me. Now, there were 2 students. One of them is a late Shafuda. I used to sell goods for her, so that she's from a business family and they have these soccer kits and so on. She will give to me to sell and she paid me a commission. So that was a good business. Then there was John Usiku, he's working for Namfisa. He used to have these cones, the cakes, and I sell and I give him, but he's supposed to be paying me. He never paid me until today. It's a good friend of mine. He never paid me. Yeah, but now, after finishing grade 12, I never applied to go to university. You know why I did not apply to go to university? Because Ipumbu Secondary School is in Oshakati, and my village is about 30 kilometers out of Oshakati at Orukhono. Now, when I used to come from my village to come to school, sometime on three occasions, my mother did not have money to give me taxi money to go to school. What used to happen? So sometimes she will then send me to Kukuwakanjeka. Kukuwakanjeka is another elder at our village, she's still there, and borrow $10 so that I can get the $10 to go to school. And when she sell kapana, she can later on pay this $10 back. In total, she borrowed $30, she had paid it back. Now, the only reason why I did not apply to go to university is because
I knew that.
Now, what is the NamRA Information Technology Department all about, and what are they currently busy with? We'll get to that in a moment.
We administer tax and custom laws so efficiently and consistently. We are ethical, effective in changing lives. We are there for you. This is your revenue. NamRA, serving with passion to positively impact the livelihood of every Namibian.
It is often said that effective systems are key to the success of any revenue agency. Now, to brief us more on this is the NamRA Chief Information Officer, Melanie Shienda. Well, good day and welcome to NamRA Kachenu.
Thank you for having me, Shife.
Now, as we have alluded to some of the elements in the introduction, what are the main systems that NamRA uses?
Well, a revenue agency has two core departments and systems they need to meet the needs of those two departments. We have the Customs and Excise Department, and for that we have the Asukuda World System. For the Domestic Taxes Department, we have the ITAS, which is the Integrated Tax Administration System.
Awesome. You've mentioned ITAS as one of the systems that NamRA uses, right? What is its current status, and what do you think can be done to optimize it better?
Okay, so in 2019, the system was made live. And in 2021, when NamRA was launched as part of the migration from Ministry of Finance, we then took over the ownership of the ITAS system. Early this year, we undertook or signed an agreement with the joint venture for a service level agreement. And this service level agreement helps with the support and maintenance of the system. To ensure the optimization of the system, we are looking at ensuring continuous patch management. We're looking at bug fixing. We are also then looking at trying to get the user experience to give us an understanding of what functionalities on the system needs to be reprogrammed or redeveloped, or what functions we need to introduce. We're also looking at providing a self-help portal where these taxpayers can interact directly with the system without the involvement of our staff members. Mm-hmm. We also want to introduce the aspect, or rather integrate and interface with third-party systems. This includes Ministry of Home Affairs, BIPA, as well as the commercial banks. So this will give us an effective or more detailed data from these entities that will help optimize the system.
Okay. Amazing. You also mentioned about the Asukuda system. What purpose does it serve, and what is its level of effectiveness so far?
Okay, as indicated, Asukuda is responsible to assist the Customs and Excise Department to make sure that their operations are automated. The system was developed by Antact, and we have been using it for quite some time at the Ministry of Finance. The automation of the processes of Customs and Excise has been assisted by the system. Also, it serves as a revenue collection mechanism. To optimize this, the Asukuda World also has subsystems, which are called modernization systems. There is the NSEN, which is the National Customs Enforcement Network System that looks to the risk management aspect of it. We have the trade verification system, making sure that which comes in and out can be verified. This is a project that we are running with Bank of Namibia. Mm-hmm. We also have what we call the UCR. What the UCR does is that it ensures that there is a unique consignment reference, so that that which is imported from South Africa and rather exported from South Africa and imported into Namibia has the same reference number. And we can then make sure that when that information is placed onto Asukuda, it is actually the correct data. This enables us to reduce on the misclassification as well as the under-declaration that is being done on these systems. As part of optimizing the Asukuda world, we saw that with the changes in technology as well as what is happening in the world of customs, I mean, they're a very dynamic entity. We are busy upgrading the Asukuda world system, but just not the system itself, but also looking at the infrastructure. That is now the hardware and the servers, well, the networks aspect of it, so as to make sure that we can align with what is happening out on a regional as well as international level.
Awesome. So basically what you're trying to say is that the Asukuda system is existent and it can also be made use of.
Yes, no, definitely. The traders, what the Asukuda world system does is that allows you to be able to access it 24/7, wherever you are. The traders are able to then log their declarations on there, and payments are then done, and you get that reflection on it as well. So the traders are then able to interact wherever they are with the system, and does not necessarily require the customs and excise officials to assist them in the trade.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Now, much has been said about the digital transformation strategy. What are its main elements?
Well, I think the world has moved from being more manual to digitalizing.
Yeah.
And as the ICT department, we have developed the digital transformation strategy for NamRA. And this strategy looks at ensuring that we as the department is able to, as a strategic enabler, propel NamRA to a secured, integrated, as well as a data-driven entity. And we have 5 thematic areas that we have as part of this digital transformation strategy. The first part of the thematic area, or the first thematic area, is the ICT governance and project management. I mean, that is basically the foundation, where we're laying out, indicating how we are going to govern, and then, of course, it then spills over to how ICT will be managed at NamRA, and that whatever initiatives that we are going to have as the ICT department, of course driven by the business, is following a international standard of project management. We just don't want to do things haphazardly. There should be some flow of some framework on which we are going to be basing ourselves. The second thematic area of the strategy then looks at risks management. Every institution is risk prone, and they need to understand how we are able to not just manage institutional risks, but also ICT, especially in this digital era. So we are then going to look at what activities are we going to put in place to make sure that our risks are either mitigated and that we are reducing any vulnerabilities that may occur within NamRA. This is now from system perspective, but then also from a human aspect, because we all know that the users or the humans are the highest risk factor.
Yeah.
The third thematic area looks at our systems and emerging technology. This looks at our current systems that we have, looking at how we can optimize them, stabilize them, maintain them effectively, but then also how we are going to use emerging technologies to make sure that the business transforms digitally, but then also how we can optimize those systems that we currently have, optimizing our business processes and translating all that into automation and digitizing our documents, amongst others. The fourth thematic area of our strategy then looks at our infrastructure. So our infrastructure then speaks not only to the hardware as most people look at it, but also looks at our software as well as our networks. The availability of these, making sure that there is business continuity, but then also ensuring that the user experience, which is important, speaking to our strategic pillar of customer centricity. We, as the ICT department, want to ensure that such is also within our planning. The last thematic area then looks at how we are going to deliver our services, having the right people on board, making sure that there is a framework of how we are going to holistically look at service delivery. So these 5 thematic areas, of course, then branch down into different activities, and the strategic plan provides for an implementation plan, as well as how it's going to be monitored and evaluated over the 3-year period of the strategy.
Awesome. Now, you've mentioned having the right people on board as an important aspect to this, right? So now that we all know that NamRA is busy with this extensive recruitment process, right? Are you happy with the human resource that is deployed to your department currently?
Thank you, Shife. Yeah, well, the ICT sector in Namibia is relatively new. If you had to look at the stats of the number of ICT professionals vis-a-vis the accountants or any other, we are still quite new, but we're quite growing fast. And yeah, I know I'm content.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear.
I'm content with the staff members that have come on board. Also, you know, the skill set that is there. We have quite a number of staff members that have already showed what they're capable of doing within the short period that they have been employed with NamRA. And yes, of course, the dynamicness of our sector and the continuous learning that we have, you know, new things coming up. I mean, the team is dynamic, they're young, so I mean, we are agile as per our value to be able to learn more and, you know, experiment on what is there, bring innovation into it. But the good thing from our side as NamRA Revenue Agency as an entity is that we are on a more advantaged stage in the fact that we have, I think we're the second last of the revenue agents, country rather, to be having a revenue agency. And therefore we can learn from what other entities have done, what other countries have done regionally as well as internationally. And yeah, in IT, you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel. You copy that which others have done, but you customize it to your environment because that may be different from what you have in other countries. So we actually have that advantage to leapfrog from what others have done and make sure that NamRA can transform digitally.
Okay. So now, as the head of department, what are you currently up to enhance the skill set of your subordinates?
Okay, so we are, so policies and procedures, strategies are usually ones that guide. So we are in the process of drafting a training as well as development, personal development plan strategy for our staff members. This is going to then set out how and when we are going to be able to engage in different skills upgrades. However, in the interim, we have had different online training that we have done. We have also, for the new staff members, assisted them or given them heads on what the different systems are for. We are a learning institution, and we as a department, with the fact that we're very dynamic, need to be on abreast of what's happening. So the team is constantly on a weekly basis, not a monthly, on a weekly basis, undertaking different trainings. We're looking at security, we're looking at business process re-engineering, we are looking at cyber security, we are also looking at applications development with the different languages that are available there. So the team, with not just doing the day-to-day tasks, but also learning on what is available out there to be effectively doing their work.
Great. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but before we conclude, do you have any final remarks that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yes, we are very much aware that we have inherited systems that may not be optimal currently, but we as the ICT department are working hard to make sure that that which we as NamRA are visioned to do are actually translated into our systems. We are working hard to ensure that our infrastructure is available with the current setup that is there. Our systems are being optimized. We are looking into upgrading our infrastructure as indicated. Also making sure that The staff members themselves are ICT literate. All of that is things that we want to do. Digital transformation is just not technology. There's the human aspect as well. So as a department, we are working hand in hand with the other departments to make sure that that which we are providing to the populace out there is just not for them, but we as NamRA staff members can effectively use the technology that is available for us.
Awesome. Ms. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shive.
Now that was the NamRA Chief Information Officer, Ms. Melanie Shienda, reflecting on both the effectiveness of the ITAS and Asigura system. We'll be back after a short break. Keep watching.
We administer tax and custom laws so efficiently and consistently. We are ethical, effective in changing lives. We are there for you. This is your revenue.
NamRA, serving with passion to positively impact the livelihood of every Namibian.
Johanna Mukushu is a Principal Customs and Excise Officer with 13 years of experience obtained from serving in various sections. Contributing towards ensuring that NamRA becomes a world-class revenue agency that positively impacts the livelihood of every Namibian is a major drive for her. Now here's a look at Johanna Mukushu.
My name is Johanna Amkushu. I'm the Customs and Excise by profession. I'm executing NamRA mandate from the Namibia Revenue Agency Mail Center, Windhoek, that's in Southern Industry. And apart from the collection and securing state revenue, we facilitate trade and as well we protect the Namibian society and its environment, because we believe we are the first and last defense of the country. Why customs and why post office? My passion lies within the trade facilitation, and the latest data is per World Bank today says Namibia is populated as 104th out of the 190 countries. That's in specification to ease of doing business. And what does that mean? It tells us that we really have to come out of our shells and ensure that enhanced efficiency is on the equation, and basically what we have to do now, we have to ensure that there's more collaboration with other agencies and with other stakeholders. Yes, basically that. With me, dedication, determination, commitment as well as perseverance really make somebody to emerge victorious. And I'll leave the audience with the 4 agreements that were written by Miguel that goes, the first agreement is that your words should be impeccable, and that basically means that your response to others should be exactly how you wish to exchange the same response from them. And the second agreement is that you should not take things personal. So otherwise personal, it might interfere with your emotional intelligence, and that's how it will also interrupt with decision making. And the third agreement is that do not assume. Assumptions is a dangerous and poison that you just tell your mindset. So one can avoid that and overcome it through asking questions. And lastly, the last agreement, kindly just do your best. Live your life simple, do your best, and do your best.
We are slowly but surely approaching the end of our show, but before we do that, here is the trivia.
Did you know? Samson Kaulinge was the first Commissioner of Customs and Excise in Namibia, appointed in 1990.
NamRA. Serving with passion.
Here's today's question. What is the name of the NamRA staff featured in this episode? Kindly email your answer to NamRA Kachenu at namra.org.na. The due date for submission is the 14th of December 2022, and the winner will be announced in the next episode.
Now that's all we had for this edition of NamRA Kachenu. We'll be back in 2 weeks, but until then, goodbye.
Giving fairness and equality to our nation. We appreciate the difference in ethnicity.